What is up, Nurse Coach homies? Welcome back to the podcast. Today I have Leah Ponticello, good friend of mine who is also an entrepreneur. I'm really excited. First of all, we're just in like a really sick location and it's beautiful. And I'm really excited to have more conversations in places like this. I think that's the direction that I'm headed in my content this year. It's just like really fun places that feel inspiring and creative. So I'm really excited for today's episode. I just want to like basically pick your brain and hear a little bit more about who you are, the path that you've taken to get to where you are in your business, and hopefully be really useful to this audience as well. A lot of these folks are just starting out in entrepreneurship, so they're just getting started in their own business and thinking about what's the mindset and character qualities that they need to step into that's going to help them to be successful. So let's get started by just having you introduce yourself, what you think is relevant. And give us a little background.
I think it's actually super relevant to your crew and who you're speaking to, because I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. I still even struggle with that identity. I really don't think that I am.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just my dad was a mailman. My mom was a secretary at an all-girls high school. I just figured get a normal, typical job. I ended up being a school psychologist for 6 years. So just working in a school district because it had a pension and benefits. And it's I just never really ever knew what I wanted to do. I think I picked college because I had a scholarship for soccer. And I remember going under anesthesia one time. And they're like, oh, what do you how they try to talk to you before they put you out.
They're like, I'm high right
They're like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm going to school to play college soccer. And they're like, oh, and I remember the whole room laughing because it was that's not what you're going to do type of deal. And I didn't know that. And I was like, what? I kind of remember going out and being a little pissed. You guys are telling me that I'm not
dream crushers.
So I don't know. I just randomly stumbled into everything. I went to college. I was like, I don't know what to study. Let me just pick a random major that interests me. So I'll go for psychology because that's endlessly interesting to me, at least. And then for when I graduated, you can't really do anything with a bachelor's in psych. So I was didn't know what to do. I was coaching soccer, and then I was bartending, and then for the team I was coaching, he's like, hey, do you want to get your master's? And you can pick any master's program that you want and we'll pay for it. Since we don't have money to pay you to be a coach, we'll just pay you in the form of schooling and you can get a free master's. And I was sick. So let me just pick out of a catalog. There was 3 options and I Googled highest pay. And I was I guess I'll be a school psychologist. Literally, guess what? They never paid for my program. That basically was hey, it turns out that funding is only available for basketball and not soccer. So I found myself in a 3-year master's program that was $60K.
What a scam.
Yeah. And I just did it because I was well, I don't know what else to do. Can we swear, by the way?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know what the fuck else to do. So I guess I'll do this. And I did it for 3 years, and then I didn't even know what the job entailed. I remember at the interview, they're like, what's a day in the life of a school psych look like? And I was saying random shit, and they were looking around and side glances at the table. She doesn't know what this is about or how I got into the program randomly. I finished it. I worked there, and I was for 6 years, just miserable. I don't want to do this for 24 more years. I want to make a lot of money. And I also really kind of dislike authority. I guess I don't like obligation. I don't want anyone telling me where I have to be when.
Sounds like an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So I was I think I need to be my own boss, but I don't know what that looks like. I didn't even know what a write-off was, other than the Seinfeld clip where Kramer's just talking about write-offs over and over. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Okay. I love it.
You gotta watch it. He's it's a write-off, Jerry. And Jerry's what's a write-off?
They're I have no idea what it is outside.
I'll just write it all off. I'll just be an entrepreneur and write everything off. I still kind of learning. So I don't know shit about being an entrepreneur. All I know is that I want to make as much money as I can. And it's nice to know that my effort correlates to my income. And I don't want to have to check in on lunch break. I don't want to have to scan my ID card to get back in the building and then have you be well, you took 46 minutes. You know what I mean? I just fucking hate that shit. So I think anyone can do it. You just have to decide and make a change. So basically, to answer your question, now I sell life insurance. I have an agency, I guess. I have a bunch of people under me. It's just kind of all unrolling.
Yeah.
But none of it was a conscious major I mean, I guess it was a decision, but
Yeah.
I just was unhappy where I was at, and I was like, well, what else can I do?
It was like you couldn't like stay on the path that you were on. Like
No.
something had to change.
I was doing the dishes for the whole building. Like I would go to like the staff break room and just do dishes because that would like eat up an hour, and I just couldn't be at my desk. I was miserable. I was like, how am I going to do this? If I can't even make it through 6 hours a day or whatever it is, how am I going to make it another 24 years? And I just was like, something else has to change. I just don't know what. And then I was like, I guess the only other thing I can get into that wouldn't require more schooling is sales.
Yeah.
And that's literally how I arrived here.
Yeah. I think a lot of nurses will deeply resonate with what you're talking about. First of all, like getting into a career path where you're then like, wait, what the fuck did I do? Holy shit. Am I going to really do this for the rest of my, well, like at least for a large chunk of my life to the point that I'm older and can no longer like stand up on my own because my back hurts so bad. And like even the burnout, not just physically, but psychologically and emotionally as well.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, I love that you're talking about like lunch breaks being too long and stuff. Like that's such a common thing in the nursing realm because sometimes we don't even get a lunch break.
Wow.
And then if you do, like sometimes people still have to bring their work phone with them in case they're needed, etc. And it's like, this is not, it's not a good setup, and it's not a life to be lived. And I think it's not set up for it to be sustainable for people. And I think a lot of career paths are that way, where you get into it and then you realize, wait a second, what did I do? Because I honestly can't foresee myself staying on this path for too long. So we know each other through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And then you were actually in maybe the like second or third cohort of a coaching program that I was running. Tell me about like when you first started out, and I think we were starting to connect around the time that you were just getting started.
Yes.
So tell me kind of what were some of the shifts that you had to go through to get to where you are now? Because I remember like one of the big ones was just like having more fun with it.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oof. I was down bad. I joined your program. It was like I did like Jeremy Miner's program. It was like $8,000, and I didn't really commit. Like I didn't show up. I didn't do the one-on-one sessions. I was just kind of like, if I keep buying programs, someone will give me the answer. And I think doing your program was like, well, dude, you have the answer. Like you can't keep looking for somebody else to help you out here. You got to like do it yourself.
Yeah.
And so it was more like, go inward, have fun. I think the biggest theme from what I learned from your program was like the concept of letting go and getting in flow state. And like, you're so, like, I was so stressed and concerned about like, what do I need to do to get this?
Yeah.
I was like too attached to the outcome. And I was also like in hustle mode, right? So I was like forcing. And I don't know if like, you know, human design at all, but like I'm a projector. I'm not supposed to be like a generator. I'm not supposed to be a workhorse. And I was just doing everything against the grain. And you were just like, yeah, like what does it look like to like kind of just let go and not care? I was like, I've never known that feeling in my life.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you, even just kind of what you embody is kind of just like relax and chill and like let things come to me. And so I was almost like tapping into my inner Micah, like what would Micah do? And I'm like, well, why don't I just like get on the phone and just like relax and chill and be like, however this ends, it is what it is. Like whether it goes my way or it doesn't, there's going to be like in 5 years from now, is this sale going to matter? No. Like I'm either getting where I'm going or I'm not. I'm either going to make it or I'm going to fail. But like getting wrapped up and tied up in the actual call and the stress of it. So I think, I was just detaching from the outcome and just focusing on like getting to know the person on the other end of the phone.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy because I had like my first 40K a month, and I was struggling to even make 20.
Yeah.
Like 40 was like a stretch goal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it happened. I remember you asked me like, what do you think changed or what happened? And I'm like, dude, I really don't even know. I've blacked out. Like it just all fell into place. But I think it's because I wasn't paying attention so hard.
Yeah.
I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And it just flowed a lot nicer. And I think the people on the other end of the phone also felt that I was less needy.
Yeah.
And so they were coming to me more. And it just kind of like, it's so funny because you can say that shit until you're blue in the face, but like until you actually practice it, nothing will change. And it's so cliche and it's so hard, but it's so true.
Yeah. There is a theme that I feel like I've been landing on recently, which is if you create such a strong magnetic pull, you'll never have to push or pressure or convince anyone into anything. And I think that's really what I'm about. And I think a lot of the work that we were doing together was like, how do you create such a magnetic pull in who you are and how you show up and the energy that you have that you never have to push or pressure or convince anyone. And a lot of, I think, what I saw shift in you was like just having more fun with it, like enjoying the process of like connecting with people and serving. I remember you started like sending gifts to people, you know, like you started being like, I don't know, I'm just going to like send some stuff to people and let them know that I care about them as a human. And they went through something difficult this past week. And I just want to show them that like I heard them and care.
Yeah.
And I feel like that stuff too, it always comes back around, you know?
I sent flowers to like a woman whose husband passed and she ended up calling me back and getting a policy for herself and for her daughter. And then this one guy, he and his wife wanted to go with State Farm, and so I lost the sale, and I was like, great, well, your State Farm rep will never send you cupcakes, so like here you go. And I sent them red velvet cupcakes. They canceled with State Farm and went with me, no joke. And it was like fat sale too. It was like $9K. Yeah, they both got huge policies. To this day, they're still on the books, and they're like randomly in Alaska. So wild. I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the $32 for like Uber Eats. And it turned out to be like a $9,000 return on investment.
This is so good.
Yeah.
Like, how can we absolutely over deliver for people without any attachment to the outcome? But just it feeling like I just want to pour out and give and have fun with this and almost see it as a fun game. Like, that's what I say a lot. I'm like, when people are feeling like stressed or overwhelmed or burned out in their business, sometimes I think, first of all, it comes back to where have we deviated from your values? Like, where is this business being built on values that aren't actually yours?
Yeah.
Second of all, where are we deviating from your energy sources? The things that bring you to life, the things that excite you, the things that you're passionate about are no longer infused into your day-to-day life. How do we kind of bridge that gap? And then the other thing I think is just deciding that you are going to have fun with this, that this is going to be a fun game for you.
Right.
So when you first got started, you were making absurd amounts of calls a day.
Yeah.
And I'd imagine you at some points had to kind of turn that into like a fun challenge for yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that process? Like, how many calls were you making? Talk to us about volume and what it really takes to create the kind of success that you want in your life.
So, I mean, like similar to your group, like I have agents who are starting. So I'm kind of like having these same conversations with my people. And it's like, you don't just get successful randomly. Like I think you should join anything knowing like I'm quitting this career to do this, and what it's going to take is at least a year of like full blown effort. Like you have to kind of plant seeds and look at it like I'm doing this no matter what for at least a year, and we'll see what happens after that. Like people who want to try something new for a few months and everything is riding on that, there's too much pressure there. It's like you haven't even had time to fail and learn and get better and adjust to feedback. Like you don't have enough data points. So if I say this every single time I ask for the social security number in the application and I lose it, well, like now I know not to ask that way anymore. But like if you don't have enough time or enough calls or enough data points, how can you possibly know what's working and what's not working? And so I think people want instantaneous success the second that they make a change. And then if they don't, their family is like, see, I told you it wasn't going to work out. You should have stayed in your career. And it's like, I think people need to have proper expectation before they change careers that this is not going to be quick and fast. It's not instant gratification. I'm going to have to make 400. I mean, I pay a dialer to like blast calls for me. So like it's calling 3 or 4 people at once, and then whoever answers I get to talk to. So I'm making like 400 dials a day.
Wow.
But I'm also calling like 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And now I have leads in different states. So if it's late at night here, I can call Alaska, I can call Hawaii, like I can keep going.
Wow.
But you're not going to have to do that forever. Like there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but until you get where you want to be, you're going to have to put in an insane amount of hours. And it's like, think about being a nurse, or I mean, I don't really know nurse pay. So like, let's think about me when I was in the education system. You start at 50K, you end at like 120K, and it takes you 30 years to get there. Yeah. So if I'm okay making a small amount of progress every year for 30 years. And why are we expecting to make double our income the very next year? It's like not proportionate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
It's like I think a person's ability to be successful in entrepreneurship is directly related to their ability to delay gratification.
Oh, 100%.
It's really hard, I think, to keep yourself in check with that, especially when there's so much like input that maybe the output isn't reflecting yet because you're learning.
Right.
But eventually the input is going to reflect the output.
Oh, 100%. The chips are going to land. Like you might go 0 for 40 and then you make 5 sales in a row.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I love looking at a spreadsheet of my leads because I'll highlight them green. I still have like an old school method where I have like systems, but then I do love like a good Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And then the point of it is that I'm highlighting all the reds, not interested. All the yellows are mild interest, or at least they've answered the phone. Green is sold. Black means they've never even answered the phone. So as I scroll, I notice like 1 every 15 is a sale. So I'm like, sick. I just got to call 15 more people.
Wow.
You know? So like if I see it that way, or if I'm looking at it and it's like 50 in a row or no sale, then I'm like, well, the odds of the next 50 being no sale are not high because the trajectory is like 1 out of 20, 1 out of 15. I just got to keep going and it's going to land.
That's so fucking, like, this is so important because a lot of people will get to number 14 and be like, this isn't working.
Right.
Done.
15, 16, 17 would have been your sales.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's just that mindset of like, this is the biggest thing I'll say. It's not like if this works out, like I'm going to quit my job and if this works out, I'll do it. I'll try this for a while. It's like, no, you're deciding it's going to work even if I like have to fucking die. Like, like a very dramatic decision. Like, no, it's going to fucking work no matter what. I'll move mountains. I'm going to force this into working. Yeah. And then I will say one more thing that's really important because like I remember hearing podcasts like this and just being like, this is bullshit. Like I can't be in a flow state and I can't chill and let go and relax if I don't have money. Like I'm stressed to the gills. Like what the fuck are you guys talking about? Give me real actionable results. Like you do have to be a little insane. I cashed in on my 403B. That was like my retirement for the school district. So when like I moved to San Diego, I spent 10 grand to get here. So I lived off my savings. Then I did solar and that was like robbery, literally. Like they just weren't paying me. So I started to have like my little daytime job that only paid me like $4K a month. This was like an entry-level sales position. I had no sales experience. And then so I did software sales by day, solar by night. Solar wasn't paying me. They were basically like, doesn't matter. They just weren't paying me. Yeah. So my rent was $2,500. I was starting to run out of money. It was getting really tight. So I was like, I'm quitting solar. I'm going to do life insurance at night. So I'll still do my day job for base pay. I'll do this, which is commission only at nighttime. And then after like 1 month, I made $5K. And so this obviously surpassed my day job. So I switched. But $5 grand isn't enough in life insurance because you're spending $2 grand a month on leads. People cancel. So you're like living in the red. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I have to make a dramatic change. I can't just keep calling the shittiest leads that are 75 cents a piece and like hoping to make 10 or 15K. It's never going to happen. Everybody around me is making more money by spending more money on higher quality leads where it's like $40 per lead. Yeah. So I needed money. And so I made a huge dramatic decision and I cashed in on my retirement so that I had money to pay off all my credit cards so that I can then start buying high intent leads. And that is like a huge risk and a huge investment. And it's a very dramatic decision where if I had asked anybody else, they would have been like, you're crazy. At what point are you going to admit defeat? You're being irrational. You're like going further backward to spring ahead. Like you're just delusional. And so I didn't ask anybody for advice. I didn't check in because I knew the feedback I was going to get. Yeah. And you're talking about people who've like lived in like a comfortable decision-making basis their whole life. Like again, my dad was a mailman that comes with a pension. These are people who make safe decisions. They don't know entrepreneurship. I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my life who would be like, fuck yeah, dude, you got to spend money to make it. Who cares if you spend 400 grand to make $1 million, you still made 600K, right? Like I didn't have anyone telling me that. Yeah. So I cashed in on my retirement, which felt, I mean, I had a huge penalty, a huge tax penalty. Yeah. So like, I think I paid like 12 grand just on that alone. Paid off my credit cards. And then I started buying high intent leads, which I didn't know if I had the skill set to even close those leads. So now I'm paying $40 for the opportunity to talk to you. And you might be like, I already got sold yesterday. Bye.
Yeah.
There goes $40 right there.
Yeah.
So there's an insane level of risk involved where it's like you have to go all in on it, because the only reason I'm where I am is because I had a level of delusion and then also like a commitment to like I won't allow myself to fail. Otherwise, I'd be back in the school district.
Yeah.
Like everyone's gonna come to that fork in the road, and it's not like, oh, I don't have it. I don't have that it factor. I didn't make it. It's like, no, you chose to the left when you could have chose to the right, and that's literally the only difference between people who make it.
I'm in this Facebook group with a bunch of nurse coaches, and I saw someone post something recently about like, I want to have somebody look over my contracts, but every lawyer was wanting to charge like several $100s an hour, and it's going to take them a few hours just to look over these contracts. And if it's going to cost me this much money to start my business, how am I ever going to get this thing off the ground? And I honestly was like pretty annoyed by that, because I was like, that is the very thing that's going to keep you stuck.
1000%.
That is a crazy like way of thinking. And I get it, because it's a totally different like mindset. Like going from nursing, going from employee to CEO, to entrepreneur, to running your own life and business. But what I tried to help them to understand was every business is going to have startup costs. It does not matter what business you're starting, it will have startup costs. Think about starting a restaurant.
Right.
You have got to buy or at least lease out a property that you're going to have the restaurant, staff, food, equipment, and all of that before you ever will see a profit.
I love that analogy. It's my favorite, because then people get it.
Yeah. It's like and obviously there's a ton more overhead in starting a restaurant than like starting a coaching and consulting business or starting an insurance agency, anything like that. Like there tends to be like a little bit more of an overhead for things like that, because they're physical locations and need staff. But I do think it's really important for people to understand that anything you're starting like this is going to have some overhead and some startup costs. And if you don't have the like mindset of I'm strapped in, and I am not going to unbuckle this seatbelt until I'm full speed ahead. And even then, like I'm strapped in, right? If you don't have that mindset, I think it's really easy for people to just turn back around and say, never mind. This is too much, or it's asking too much sacrifice from me, time-wise, energetically, financially, whatever it is. I'm running ads right now for my wife, Bobby, and we're running ads because we're moving, and so she's trying to build up a new clientele in a new location. And so we're running Seattle-specific ads that are only being shown to people in Seattle. And I think it's really difficult because she's seeing this money go into these ads every day. And she's like, I've only gotten, maybe 5 or 6 bookings so far. And I said, okay, let's talk about how much those are generating. I want you to add up the estimated revenue generated from each of the tattoo bookings that you've gotten so far. It's probably close to now like over $2,000 for sure, for like 5 bookings. And we've probably put in $200 into ads. So I said, I understand that like there's money going into this and you maybe wanted to see more of a return, but you have a 10-to-1 return right now. Like that's insane. Like that's an insane ROAS. For those that don't know, return on ad spend.
I didn't even know that.
That's an insane ROAS. And a lot of people don't really register that if every time you paid $1 you got $10 back, wouldn't you keep doing that?
So what's the goal? It's like, okay, well, if you want to make $40K a month, then do the math backwards to figure out what you need. So like that's exactly right. Like when I'm talking to agents and they're like, hey, I didn't make a sale today, and it's like, okay, well, how many conversations did you have? I had 2. How many dials did you make? 200. So for every 200 dials you get 2 conversations. Okay. So why don't you make 400 and get 4 conversations, and then maybe you sell 1 out of the 4? Like it's just literally just like metrics until you improve your skill set so that you can convert higher. And so it's like, then once people know her, like when people know your wife, they're going to then like word of mouth will spread. And so now it's like a crazier return on investment. But the beginning is always the hardest.
100%. You're talking about risk tolerance, which I've been screaming from the rooftops is like a quality that you have to have in entrepreneurship. I think that's one of the non-negotiables from my experience, and the people that I've seen actually create success in a new path like this for themselves. I think that's been one of the biggest qualities, like a common denominator that I've seen. As you've been bringing more people in and training people up, and whether or not you see it as training them to be an entrepreneur, that is essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
What are some of the qualities you are trying to instill in people as you're helping them to create their own businesses and get their own leads and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's just creating proper expectations, and like I'll tell them, because they're only seeing how I'm much better now, right? Like my close ratio is like 50%. So if I talk to two people, I'm closing one of them. But I sucked in the beginning. Like I had to talk to 8 people before I got a sale. I didn't know which product to go, like all these things. So it's kind of just like proper expectation of like, look, no one is good. There's no it factor. You have to develop it. So you're going to develop that by having a million conversations. And then in those conversations, you need to be open to feedback and adjust. So like if I'm constantly pitching the numbers when only the husband's present and the wife isn't there, and he's like, I got to talk to my wife about it, and you've lost a sale 10 times over that, why don't you just stop giving the number when the wife's not present? You know, like there also has to be some, like, you have to be smart enough to adjust to your feedback and listen to the feedback that you're getting into your environment. But then it's just like from there, you'll be okay. So I think what I'm telling them is like, it's going to take reps. It's going to take time. It's going to take you feeling uncomfortable and staying put anyway. So I don't have a risk tolerance, right? I just did it. Like, even though it felt highly uncomfortable, I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, as long as they know like someone else has gone through this exact same feeling, and you're normalizing the feeling to them of like, I know what you're going through. You want to go back to your job. You're scared. You feel like you're running out of money. You feel like it's not going to work. You feel like the people who've made it are somehow special or different than you. It's like, no, I sucked. I wasn't successful. I had to cash in on my 403B. I had to get better over time. And you're just like, you have to pay your dues.
Yeah.
Like pay your dues, sit in the saddle, keep making the calls, keep being broke until it works.
Yeah.
So I think if they know that that's the expectation and they succeed faster, then great, it's a bonus.
Yeah.
But if it takes them a year to finally get the plane off the ground, then it's like, great. I do think entrepreneurship is not for some people, and it's only for the people who can't adjust to feedback.
Yeah.
Like if you keep making the same mistakes 50 out of 50 times, you're just not sharp enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I was recently making this reel. I was thinking about posting it. I'm not sure if I will, but it was basically like, if you had a friend that was really bad at singing, like just a terrible singer, it's painful to listen to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, I want to go all in and become a singer. Would you tell them? Like, would you be like, hey, I don't think this is the right path for you? Or would you like be in the corner, cheering them on, supporting them, being like, yes, like I believe in you? Because sometimes that's how I feel. Like as a business mentor, sometimes people come to me and sometimes I'll like say, I don't know that this is the right program for you, or I don't know if this is the right fit. And what I'm really like thinking is, I don't see some of the qualities that I would want to see to feel really confident that I can help you.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know, like, do I just get in the corner and be like, I'm going to support you. We got this. Let's strap in. I'm cheering you on. I believe in you. Or do you actually say like, hey, I don't know if this is maybe the right path for you? I feel like I don't want to be the dream crusher, because I feel like dream crushers are the bad guys.
Yeah. I think people can change. So I think it's our duty to tell them, from what I'm seeing, I'm not super optimistic that you possess the character traits to make these types of changes. However, here's what you would have to change in order to succeed.
I love that.
And then just being brutally honest, like there are some people who are like a certain age and they're just really negative and pessimistic, and they they love to complain and talk about the negative aspects, and they just marinate in it. And you offer a solution and they're like, I don't want a solution-focused mindset. I want to just vent and complain. And it's like, well, if you're X age and that's your go-to, you're probably not ever going to make it. Like, because that would take a lot of therapy and intentional work to like reverse.
Yeah.
So I've cut people for just being just like wanting to like fucking sit and sulk and marinate in the negativity. And I'm like, I hear you. You've been complaining about this for 3 weeks now. Are you going to get over it or not?
Yeah.
Like, the solution is right in front of you. We've talked about it. This isn't working. Let's pivot to this.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, like, I'm going to have to let you go.
Yeah.
Or other people who, like, just don't make the dials. It's been 4 months and you're just not sitting down in your chair and calling because you have ADHD or whatever it is. It's like, hey, probably this is going against the grain for you. Like, for you to sit in a chair for 10 hours a day, you don't like it and you're avoiding it at all costs. Or even when you are in your chair, you're scrolling Instagram. So it's like, I'm seeing, it's not that you can't be successful, but you're probably not going to be based on like who you are as a person.
Right.
I can at least tell you.
Yeah.
And then you can, you know, sit with that and go get therapy and like figure it out. But
yeah, like based on this current version of you. And then you're hitting on like the stuff around, you can absolutely change. You can absolutely evolve as a human being.
Yeah.
But it's going to require that you upgrade your identity and step into an entirely new version of you to create the kind of success that you want.
Yeah.
I've had people join our business mentorship, and within 1 week, I knew this isn't the space for you. And I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I'm going to refund you entirely and send you on your way. I do not think that this is the right fit. At least right now with the current, and I didn't say it like this, but like basically it's as the current version of you that you are, I don't think that this is going to work out. And I don't want to take money from someone I am not 100% confident that I can help.
Yeah.
And so I would rather just say, here's your money back. I love you. It's literally all love, like no hard feelings. I just don't think that at least I'm the person that can support you right now based on what I'm seeing. And I think it's really important, like as people that are like training other people up and mentoring other people, stepping into a new path, that we do have a level of honesty with that.
Yeah.
And like some integrity around what we're seeing.
And that's going to sit and sting that person so much deeper than if you had let them continue and fail, because then they would have been like, her program didn't work. This is the, like, I tried and I paid and did it and nothing happened. And it's like, now you being like, here's your money back, sorry, is going to be like, what the fuck? You're not taking my money because you don't think I have it? And then they're going to be like, well, what do you mean I don't have it? Da-da-da-da. And then they're going to go inward. And it's really going to create like more work on themselves because you're not taking their money and they have no one else to blame.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot of like negativity very early on. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not trying to have that in my space, in my environment.
Yeah,
like,
and it fucks up you too. Like,
it's very protective of my own energy.
100%.
You know? I think that also is something that maybe people, when they're first starting out, like don't have a level of energetic boundaries that is also required to really be at your best and therefore attract the things that you want in your life. Is like you're kind of just saying yes to everything because it's there and it's an opportunity and it's in front of you. But I actually think that when you get to a certain point, it's not just about expanding and creating and building that foundation. It's now about protecting what you've built and protecting the energy that's around that. Because if you want to continue to expand it with the best people, the best energy, and get the best results, you have to be a little protective of it.
I agree. I think it doesn't matter if it's like your program, my agency, a team. There's always going to be like cancers, and negative energy spreads so quickly and it can poison so many minds.
Yeah.
That 100%, it's like, look, if you're not the right fit, you are a Cancer and I'd like to cut you out before you spread. 100%. And it's tough.
Yeah. And I think there's like an understanding and a level of discernment that we need to have around like toxic positivity, like just push through any negative emotions.
Yeah.
And seeing like, no, there's some discrepancies between how you're showing up and the things that you're saying you want.
Right.
Because I think the toxic positivity stuff is like, no, ignore your emotions rather than use your emotions as signals to point you in the right direction. Like I don't see emotions as good or bad, as having any morality to them. I just see them as signals pointing me in a certain direction. If I'm dissatisfied or unfulfilled in a certain path, then I'm looking for, okay, where have I gone wrong? Where have I created incongruence with my values or the things that excite me and make me feel alive, or the business model that I've created that is actually maybe not supporting the lifestyle that I'm looking for? And I'm looking for that stuff rather than like using those emotions to look for someone to blame.
Yeah.
I'm using those emotions as signals for how I need to change things in my own life. And I think that's the difference there.
Yeah. And that's why we need a mentor, like, because you have a trained mindset and you know how to look for that, and other people might not. And so you're there to help. Like, it's the same exact thing. Whereas, like, if I have a person who pitched the husband the quotes, the wife's not present 20 times, how good am I as a mentor if I say, keep at it, the next one you'll get?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not giving you any real feedback.
Yeah.
Dude, just don't withhold the quote until the wife's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I could tell you just keep going.
Yeah.
That's toxic positivity.
Yeah, exactly.
You got it. Next one. It's like, dude, that's not fucking helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of spaces like that too, that like, it's just like a hype squad.
Yeah.
Like someone recently sent me a text and they were like, thank you so much for not just creating another like weird exclusive sorority hype squad and actually providing like real strategic clarity to people that helps get them pointed in the right direction, and also is like really accessible. And I think there's so many like spaces like that where it feels like an exclusive like fraternity or sorority group, and it's like, let's just help people. Like let's actually just give people some tangible, clear steps. Now that's really hard to do because there's no cookie cutter formula in entrepreneurship, and what works for me maybe it's super different than what works for the next person. But I think part of that is what you hit on earlier, which is like human design, knowing yourself on a deep level to understand how to build a life and a business that is congruent with who you are, rather than at the expense of who you are. And I think a lot of people build stuff that's actually just at the expense of who they are, and then they're wondering why they fucking hate their lives and are burned out and miserable.
Yeah, and this is like a testament to your business too, is that not many people who run coaching groups or businesses would have the integrity to cut someone and give them their money back, because there are some people out there who are paying for camaraderie and paying for belonging and paying for community, and they don't really give a shit if their business makes it. They're just like, I just want to be a part of Micah's group. And it's like, you're like, hey, I actually don't want that. I want people to have results or get out.
Yeah, have a reputation.
But a lot of businesses aren't like that, and they would be happy to take your money and run. And I think that's super sick that you're operating that way, because not many people do. And so
I just see it as like, if I want to have a reputation of helping people to get results, every person that I bring in that's not going to get results is tainting that reputation.
Yeah.
So like, I'm also trying to protect that, by saying no to the wrong people and only saying yes to the right people, and allowing that to have, honestly, like there is an exclusivity factor, but not because it's some like sorority group that like you have to be this way or show up in this way. Rather, like, I'm a very much so come as you are. We are not ever going to ask you to be a version of you that you're not.
Yeah.
But I'm also willing to say, if you're not a version of you that's going to actually get results right now, this may not be something that you need to be invested in, at least currently. Like, maybe there are some things, some work to be done, so that when you do show up here, you are in, you are committed, you are invested, and you are going to get those results. So any like famous last words as we're kind of wrapping up, things that you think would be helpful for people to hear that are just getting started? Or maybe even further along that are listening to this and they're like, yeah, I've created something, but maybe I'm not loving what I've built, and are starting to restructure, or at least think about restructuring some things.
So I would just say, like, go slow with your pivoting, and like, don't just throw away the entire plan because like life isn't exactly what you wanted it. Like, I've been doing this. Like, this is for me even, right? It's been 2.5 years. I'm finally making like sick money on my own. I know how to sell as a personal producer. The next phase of this development is me teaching other people how to do it. And it's like, that's taking time.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the ability to sit 8 hours a day and make calls. Not everybody has the ability to cash in on their 403B or their 401k and put in the funds required to make this work. And so I'm looking for like the diamond in the rough that's like actually going to be like stick through it with how difficult it is. And I'm getting tired of like, okay, when am I going to have 10 people who are producing at a high level? When am I going to have 20, 40, 70, 100 people? And it's like, it's all unraveling. So I think that the important point is to not become impatient. And then it's like, well, how can you, like, I was just talking with my therapist about this. She's like, you don't need to change your career. You don't need to change your life. What you need to do is start spending the day how you would want. Like, what's your perfect day? Why don't you go do that regardless of the outcome? Because I was like, she's like, what's your perfect day? I was like, perfect day is I work 5 to 1 o'clock, 5 a.m. I love getting up and just like, I just want to roll out of bed, brush my teeth, have a coffee, and just hit the computer. Like, work is the first thing on my mind the second I wake up. So I'm like, let me just use that energy and work as hard and as fast as I can till 1 o'clock. And then I'm kind of disinterested. I'm hungry. Go for a run, get some sunshine, do something active outside. And then that's my exercise for the day. And then I can just chill and spend the rest of the day either hanging out with friends, doing pickleball, cooking, whatever. Like, I want the whole day in California to do whatever I want. Like, that's why I moved here. And so she's like, well, why don't you just start doing that? And I was like, well, my perfect day is that I wake up and I easily have 2 cells. So the second I get on the phone, the very people that like, the universe is orchestrating it so that the people who answer the phone are like, I want to buy right now. And she's like, yeah, but you're creating the perfect day and you're attaching an outcome to it. She goes, that's why you're not getting what you want. You need to just spend your day however your perfect day is, regardless of what happens. And then inherently, things will fall into place. And it might not be at first, and you need to be okay with that. You need to be like, hey, I'm going to work 5 to 1. If I don't make a sale today, no big deal. I'm still going to go out and frolic and do whatever. And I'm going to continue on this path, and then it'll start falling into place because the law of attraction is like bringing it to me. And so I was still hung up on like, but no, I want the people, I want to manipulate the universe so that when I call someone, they answer and they want to sell. They want the policy. She's like, Leah, you're missing it.
Yes, this is lifestyle design. This is one of my pillars in how I support people is lifestyle design, reverse engineering. What's the life that you want? And then how do we actually create that? I had a client recently. She's like, I'm so burned out. I'm working these 2 different jobs and I'm still trying to build this business. And I feel like I have no energy to put towards the business because I'm so burnt out by the 2 jobs that I'm working to really create enough of a buffer to go all in on this. And I said, when's the next day that you have off? And she goes, Wednesday. And I said, if you were to live Wednesday as if it is your last day, perfect day, what are all the things that you would want to do? Give me, literally walked her through a very similar exercise. Like, give me from start to finish the perfect day in the life of you. And so she tells me, like, I'd wake up at this time, I'd make coffee, I'd have a slow morning, I'd read a little bit, I'd go to lunch with a friend, and then later in the afternoon, I'd go bird watching. And I thought that was so cute. I was like, I love that you'd go bird watching. That's amazing. And then, you know, I'd wind down with kind of a slow evening, etc. And so I had her pull out her calendar, schedule block each of those activities.
I know you love schedule blocking.
I do. Because if it's not on the calendar, it likely won't happen for people. So I had her put it in the calendar. And I said, I want you to be like actually committed to living this out on Wednesday. And I said, what would you do if Wednesday rolled around and we hadn't done this? She's like, probably would chill on the couch trying to recover from my life, like from work and things like that. And I said, and would that have helped you out mentally? She's like, no. So would it have gotten you closer to the lifestyle that you want to live? No. Okay, so does this feel like we're getting closer to the life that you want to live and would actually support you mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually? She's like, 100%.
Did she do it?
And she did it. And she sent me a picture on Wednesday of this bird while she was out bird watching. It was super cool. It was like a black bird that was like iridescent, like it changed colors when you like saw it at different angles. And I asked her like how it felt to live that day out. And she's like, I feel so much better. This is exactly what I needed. This was a great reset for me. And I think sometimes when we're feeling burned out, stressed, overwhelmed, just going through the motions, it's important to reset with just that question of what would it look like to live a life that if my life was full of those days, I would feel like I lived a fully alive, fulfilled, exciting life. And how do we create more of those days and less of the days that create anxiety and overwhelm? Dude. That's all it's about. Like a life well lived is just a bunch of days well lived. And a bunch of days well lived is just like good connections, the stuff that lights you up, the things that you enjoy with the values that you have. That's all it is. And I think people just like, we get so wrapped up in the bullshit that we forget to just literally live into the stuff that we want to do and do more of it.
100%. I think that's beautiful. I think it's like you have to just let go And like there were days I would work so hard because I was like, well, I
Yeah.
can't let go. I need to make a salad today, right?
Yeah.
And I would be like, I would take out the garbage, and that would be my only time outside
Yeah.
for 48 hours. And I'd be like, oh my God, I miss outside. I love outside.
Yeah.
I can't believe I have to go back inside my apartment. Like, and it felt like a prison. And I was like, well, I'm not making a fucking sale anyway
Yeah.
because I'm like in this horrible state.
Yeah.
Why don't I just go for a jog for an hour and chill the fuck out and let go,
Yeah.
knowing that like I didn't miss anything in that hour. I'm always exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I can never be in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And so by like taking time out to like carve out time for things that make you happy, even if it's an hour jog in the middle of the day, like you're going to feel happier. You're going to be vibrating at a higher frequency, and then things are going to come to you because you're internally happier.
Yeah.
And it's just like literally, it's so cliche. We've heard it a million times, but that's all that it is.
Yeah.
Things will come into place and fall into your lap when you're in flow.
Yeah.
Not when you're like forcing.
Yeah. Reducing friction, increasing flow. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
This has been a really cool combo. Thank you for coming on and sharing your perspective.
Oh man, I
and
can talk to you all day, dude.
Yes, I love it so much. If people were to want to find out how to follow you, keep in touch, hear more about you and your work, what's the best place to point them?
Yeah, probably Instagram, because I was born in '89 and I don't even like know how to operate TikTok just yet. I don't even know how to do CapCut. Like I'm trying to learn it.
Let's go.
It's Leah Peacocking, Leah, and then Peacocking on Instagram, and that's my go-to. That's my jam. Just like a 65-year-old on Facebook.
Let's go. Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on the pod, and appreciate you sharing all of your life and your heart and your business and the ways that you're serving and supporting people.
Appreciate you. Thanks for getting me here.
Let's go.
My first 40K. Appreciate you.
Of course.